All right, welcome to your contractor growth roadmap training. I created this video and really these training videos for one purpose, and it's for you to understand that regardless of whether you are starting up or you're in a position that you're ready to sell your contracting business, every single phase of a contracting business functions exactly the same. So I want to walk through every stage of a contracting business that you're going to go through, whether it's startup, whether you're ready to exit, doesn't matter, every stage, and then the things that you need to pay attention to inside of every single one of these stages. So we'll get started. Number one is that every contracting business functions the same. It doesn't matter if you're a roofer, if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, if you're a remodeler. Every contracting business functions the same. In other words, they have the same framework. How you do things might be different, but they have the same framework. The first thing that you are always going to be focused on is what's called attraction, right? Attraction is marketing as its purest form. How are you getting eyeballs on your product and or service, right? That's what we're after. The second area is called conversion. This is where we take those eyeballs, those people who are interested, take the window shoppers, if you will, and convert them into paying clients. Number three, delivery. This is where you take what it was that you sold and you deliver, right? You promised you were going to do something. This is the phase when you fulfill on what you sold. And the last area is what we call expand or expansion. This is where you're growing towards that next phase of business, right? What is it going to take to grow to that next phase? Now, there's 4 phases of a contracting business, right? The first phase is what we call startup. This is when you're just starting out. For some of you, hey, you've been in this game 3 or 4 years, you're still in startup mode. Totally get it. That's okay. It's not a specific length of time per se, but it's really the phase that your business is in. So usually in startup mode, you're doing less than 500K in revenue. You have 1 to 2 employees, or maybe it's still just you. You have really no business organization, and you're involved in every aspect of the business. You're answering the phones, you're doing the pitches, you're doing the invoices, you're doing the billing, and you're out there swinging a hammer, if you will, right? You got the tool belt on. And more than anything in startup mode, you need to be focused on building the foundation of your business. Make sure that you have something in place for attraction, make sure that you have something in place for conversion, and make sure that you have something in place for delivery. The next phase is what we call the growth phase. The growth phase is usually between 500K and $1 million. Again, usually between 3 and 5 employees. In other words, you're starting to bring some people on board to help you do the thing that you do. Roofing, you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you're a remodeler. You have some business organization. In other words, there's some things that you have defined, your process for selling maybe, your process for fulfilling. You have some of that stuff defined, but you're still involved in most aspects of the business. In other words, when Johnny calls in sick, you're out there on the job site, right? But really in growth phase, you are focused on the growth of the business. The third phase of a business is called scale, right? What is scale? Usually you've hit $1 million, maybe a little over $1 million, but you're starting to really focus on the trajectory, the growth of the business, right? Scaling the business up. So you have your business structure and organization defined. You have independent marketing, sales, and fulfillment teams that don't require you. And you're more than anything focused on the optimization of the processes that you've already put in place. The last phase of a business is what we call legacy. Now, legacy is when we're making a transition. The owner is deciding that, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. So the transition could involve selling it. It could involve the transfer to a family member, a son, a cousin, a parent. It could involve the transition to employee ownership, or it could involve a roll-up, right, where you have multiple entities, multiple electrical companies that all get bought kind of together. So there's a lot of different options inside of legacy. But what I want you to understand more than anything is, where do you fall when it comes to the phases of a contracting business? Are you a startup, like you're just getting started doing under 500K? Are you in growth mode where you're starting to put some of these pieces in place? Are you in scale mode where it's really about optimizing your business right now? Or are you in legacy mode? You're really looking to say, peace out, I'm out of here, I'm done with this thing, it's been a wild ride, right? Doesn't matter where you're at, but more than anything, what you're gonna learn in these subsequent videos is based off of startup, growth, scale, or legacy, your focus on attraction, conversion, delivery, and expansion is going to differ. And so the next video that I show you is going to talk about startup mode in more detail. What is it that you should be focusing on if you're a contracting business in startup mode?